On the other hand, it is not clear that every possible theory of evolution is incompatible with the faith. Though the majority interpretation of Genesis 1 through 3 in Christian history had been quite literal, there was also a strain of less insistence on the literal. In fact, the greatest of the Church Fathers, Augustine, speculated in ways that were congruent with certain aspects of modern cosmology and evolutionary thought.
Consequently, how utterly unconvincing is the presumptuous prattling of those who maintain that Egyptian astronomical science has a history of more than 100,000 years? From what books, pray, did they cull this number, if Queen Isis taught them to write not much more than 2,000 years ago? This point about the origin of Egyptian letters is made by Varro, no negligible authority in matters historical, and it fits in well with what we know from Holy Writ. Besides, since 6,000 years have not yet elapsed from the days of Adam, the first man, should we not ridicule rather than bother to refute those who strive to convince us of a temporal duration so different and so utterly contrary to this established truth?
Is there any congruency? Any conformity? Are these ideas compatible? Do they coincide? Is there any correspondence? Any consistency between Mr. Akin and Augustine? The traditional young earth Catholic creationist reminds us how unconvincing and presumptuous are those who follow the Egyptian astronomical science that has a history of more than 100,000 years. If the astronomical science of the Egyptians, which gave a history of 100,000 years for their science, was not convincing for St. Augustine, how much more unconvincing and presumptuous are today's modern scientists who claim a history of 300,000 years for modern man? So what does St. Augustine recommend for the Catholic? He states,
Should we not ridicule, rather than bother to refute, those who strive to convince us of a temporal duration so different and so utterly contrary to this established truth?
and where do we get this established truth of a temporal duration that conforms to reality and is established in truth? From the sacred historical account, where St. Augustine states,
We know from Holy Writ that 6,000 years have not yet elapsed from the days of Adam, the first man.